It's time for another pair of designs in the Free Motion Quilting Border Design series. We're going to start with some feathers. So I'm bringing in my very helpful Mark Be Gone dual-ended pen. I don't necessarily want the blue end. I use it sometimes, but I love the purple. And if I'm doing it for myself, I use this fine version of the purple-ended pen because it is very fine, but the purple air erases. It essentially just evaporates into the air. We're going to do a curvy spine. I could get out some rulers and make it all symmetrical, but this is just play. And I can probably make it look better when I'm actually quilting than when I am drawing. So we're going to get back down here. By the way, if you don't use quilting gloves when you're free motion quilting, you really should give them a try, as well as using what's called a sew slip mat. Some people use a product called a Supreme Slider. The sew slip mat is actually a better value, and I think it works great. Let's see, I am not going to stitch my spine first. Except for, I don't like how that curve's going, so I'm going to redraw it. There we go. That's better. So this is going to be a spineless feather, or at least to start out with anyway. So a good trick when you're using a curved spine, a double curved spine, is to imagine basically halfway points so that you are not running into the area where you still need to come back and do in another direction. And I did feather right up to the edge, so I didn't even think about that. What are we going to do there? We feathered right up to the edge, Amy. You crazy woman. So we're just going to go back and fill it in. Sometimes I'm busy talking and I forget what I'm doing. So we're going to basically do a series of feathers here. So there's the top of one feather. And we're just going to backtrack. And we're going to start a whole new one. And I've got some room I need to reach into and fill it up. And then the end of our feather plume is right here. We'll just come right down. I want to come back to that beginning even though there's no plumes there. Reach out about halfway out. Not too far. Start our next feather. There are so many different types of feathers that you can do. And once you kind of have the idea on the basic plume shape, you can do all different variations on a theme. I will be going live tonight on my YouTube channel, and I'm not going to be quilting tonight on my YouTube channel, I am going to share some information about oiling your machine, because recently one of the Facebook groups that I pop into every once in a while had apparently quite a heated discussion about whether you should oil your machine between taking it in for servicing. And I have a great little visual aid here in the store that I use to help show how and why you may want to oil it, but also just if you're not comfortable oiling your machine. And of course, you know, depending on what brand you have, you want to follow what your brand says. Because my thoughts mainly refer to Janome and Janome-like machines. But if you want to take care of your machine well yourself, between professional services, you can. And it will help your machine last longer. So that will be on the Amy Quilts YouTube channel. Just go to YouTube, plunk in Amy Quilts, and my channel will show up. Alright. I'll finish this off just a little bit. Running out of room. Let's cut that. And let's take a look at that. I'll zoom you guys back out. In, out. Sometimes I forget which way to go. So there are some fun little feather shapes. And again, this is easier to do to fill in a wider spot without getting too overly fancy. Now, what I should have done, instead of running my spine all the way across the edge, is to get my marking pen and keep my spine sort of in the middle. And a great way to do this on bigger borders is with a curved ruler. Let me pull one out. So let's use this baseline here as an example. This is a QP curve ruler. I'm going to go between these 45-degree lines. I'm going to try to keep it in the same scale here. So there's a curve, and it intersects that line. And then I turn the ruler over, line it up again with those little 45-degree angle lines. I mean, you can buy a spine maker, but I am a big fan of using more basic rulers to do a lot of different things instead of a lot of gadgets, specialty shapes, that kind of thing. So that's where I like to do a spine like that. Now we're not going to use that. Let's see if I know last time I used my eraser marker, it was not working too good. So let's just take this out of the picture because I'm not going to use this line. I love my eraser pen. I hate having marking lines where I'm not going to follow them. You ever do that? You go and you mark a line and it's the wrong line. You go back and you like cross it off and you end up stitching it anyway. Oh, that drives me absolutely batty. So we're going to start here. Bring up that bobbin thread. And off we go. A couple of stitches in place just to secure things. And what kind of feather do I want to do? Maybe just the regular, but I do want to make sure I am feathering nicely. I think I want to go out to the edge of the space with my plumes and fill that space without ending the feather plume. So the last one I did, that was ending every 6 inches or so, and you can come up in here. You can make your plumes really long, you can make them really short. If you want them to be very symmetrical, then you may want to kind of practice drawing them out first, because you've got to get the angle and the shape and the curve all done correctly in order to... Ooh, I hate that one. Sorry, not supposed to talk bad about my own quilting. Neither are you. But that's why I don't like the quilting rulers that do feathers, because you've got to get several different sizes and shapes. I'd rather do feathers freehand. Now, having said that, if you are just having trouble doing feathers and you love them and a ruler helps, hey, you do you. Just making that last one in that curve just too fat. And we're just going to pretend that we've kept going down this spine. Oh, let's get you guys a little closer. Sorry about that. And I am just going to follow my spine back down. And so now my spine is not spineless. It does have a spine. Threads. All right, we are almost done. Okay, my white line's here. I had to figure out where my white line was. It's starting to get rubbed off. It is mechanical pencil chalk, and chalk, even if it's done with the mechanical pencil, can rub off very easily with the machiner's gloves. So try not to get rid of all my markings that way. And I'm doing these a little bit more curly. Just realized I've not changed my needle in my machine again. Sometimes I'm such a hypocrite. Change your needle, she says. Now I'm going to change up the shape of my feather plumes right now. And I'm going to do what's called a molar feather, because a molar feather can really fill in along a flat edge nicely. So we kind of come out here, and it's a molar like a tooth. And you can vary the size and the shape. I'm going to do a smaller one here. Smaller one. Another smaller one. And then I'm going to reach way out here and do a triple. Now that starts losing that molar shape, but it can really be fun. And of course, molar is starts the tooth. You don't want it to really look like a tooth, right? So, but the molar feathers can be really fun to then add stuff to. And come back in. You could put in just a little echo of the same shape. You can do something different. You can do little, I don't know what these are called, veining. Maybe even just a little hook kind of thing. But all kinds of different things that you can do with a feather plume and with adding in different shapes to it. All right, so I am going to focus on trying to keep these a little bit shorter. So I think that's going to be it for me tonight. I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.